Hello. Plan for this recording is to talk through how to factor. Um, we're going to start off with an a value, meaning a coefficient of x squared being just 1. So we're going to start there. Next recording we'll talk about if it's something other than 1. Before we get into factoring, before we get into going backwards, we need to thoroughly understand how to go forward. Okay, so we're going to multiply x plus 4 times x plus 7. When I multiply, I'm going to double distribute. I'm going to take this x value, multiply it by both terms in the second parentheses. And I get x squared plus 7x. Then I'm going to distribute this 4 to both terms in the second parentheses. And I get 4 times x and 4 times 7. Okay, combine like terms. Remember how we talked about most of the time your like terms are right there. 7 plus 4 is 11. Why am I adding the 7 and the 4? Because both of my signs are the same. Okay, same exact thing. X times x is x squared minus 5x minus 3x plus 15. Combine like terms. Notice again, -5, -3. The signs are the same. And when my signs are the same and I'm adding integers, I add them together. So I get 3 plus 5, which is 8, but it's negative because both of my signs are negative. That was a huge summary right there. When these two signs are the same, these two signs will be the same. And when that happens, I add the numbers together to get my like terms, or to combine like terms. Notice this sign is positive and this sign is positive. Okay. When I multiply this out, same exact procedure, x times x and so on. When I combine like terms, notice these two signs are different, which makes these two signs different. And if these two signs are different and I combine them, I'm actually subtracting 5 minus 2. And it's positive because the larger number is positive. And the difference takes on the sign of the larger number. Notice this 10 is negative because a negative times a positive is a negative. All right, multiply again. X squared minus 7x plus 3x minus 21. The assumption is you can multiply and get that. Okay, if that is not the case, that's where we need to go to practice. Combine my like terms. The signs are different. And so I know it says a -7 plus 3, but I'm going to go 7 minus 3 and get 4. And since the 7 is bigger than the 3, my answer is negative. That goes back to pre-algebra. Okay, let's do some summaries. Notice when this last term is negative, these two numbers are different signs. And when these two numbers are different signs, I subtract my product when I combine like terms, and I get that number there. If the larger number is negative, it's negative. If the larger number is positive, it's positive. Okay, if this last term is positive, these two signs will be the same. And when I combine like terms, the signs are the same, and so I add them. And the sign that I get is the sign of the two numbers I added together, either both positive or both negative. Okay, we're going to use all those different facts to help me solve or to help me factor this. First question. Is there something common? Go back to what we did before. Is there something common, or is there a common factor in all three terms? No. There's no x in all three, and there's no number that evenly divides into all three. So move on to the next step. Factored into two parentheses. When I do that, I'm going to go back here and ask the question, where did this x squared come from? It came from the first term being multiplied by the first term. So whatever I put here times whatever I put here has to give me x squared. Well, that one's easy, and it will be easy for a little bit. X times x is x squared. Next question. Where did the 28 come from? It came from this number multiplied by this number. So whatever two numbers I put here have to multiply together to give me 5. So what are my options? What are different numbers that multiply together to give me 5? Well, 1 and 5 works, and that's it. So either 1 and 5 works, or this thing's not factorable. So let's check. Let's put a 1 here and a 5 here. So where'd the 11 come from? The 11 comes from these two terms being combined. If the signs are the same, when I combine them, I'll add them. If this is positive, I will add them because the signs will be the same. Well, it is positive. So then the 5 and the 1 will get added together, and does that give me 6? Yes. 5 plus 1 is 6. So I know I have the right numbers because when I multiply this, so I've guessed that the 5 and the 1 are going to work, and I check by multiplying the 5 times 1. My technique is called guess and check. Now, I would like to modify that. We are not randomly guessing. It's an educated guess and check. Okay? So I guessed based upon several factors that my answer would be 5 and 1, and it is. It works. So now I'm going to put in both plus signs because this sign is positive, so both of these have to be positive. If this sign is positive, these two signs have to be the same. So is 5x plus 1x 6x? Yes. Is 5 times 1 5? Yes. So if I were to check all my answers, meaning if I were to multiply these two things together, I would get this x squared plus 6x plus 5. So there is my answer. Okay. If you think you got it, jump down here and try this one here. If not, or if you're done, if you think you got it and you want to try it, hit pause. And then when you come back, I will start. Okay, first question, how do I get x squared? That one's easy, x and x. Factors of 14, 1 and 14, 2 and 7. That's it. This is positive, so when I distribute them, they'll have the same sign. And if they have the same sign, I'm going to add them when I combine my like terms. So which two of these will add up to 9? 2 and 7. And it doesn't matter which one's in which place. 2 and a 7. This is a positive, so both of these are positive. Hit pause, give this one a try. How do we get x squared? X and x. Factors of 16, 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. This is positive, so these need to add up to 10. Which ones add up to 10? 2 and 8. But I want a negative 10 now. So now they both have to be negative, just like we did here. Okay, last one, you try it. Okay, how'd it go? Should have got, first step, x times x gives me x squared. Factors of 28, 1 and 28, 2 and 14, and that's it. So factors of 28 that will add up to 11. Nothing. So this is not factorable. That was a bad problem. Sorry if you spent a lot of time. Let's change this. Okay, so this one would be not factorable because that doesn't have any factors at work. So how about we make this a 24? So it is possible for it to not factor. That's just no fun. So we have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Okay, which one of these adds up, because this is positive, adds up to an 11? 3 and 8. I want a negative 11. So they are both negative. If this sign is positive, if this sign is positive, both of these signs have to be the same. If this sign is positive, both of these signs have to be the same. And when I combine like terms, I'm going to add my products together to get the middle term. Okay, let's switch gears. What if the second term, what if the second term is not positive? What if the third term, what if this third term is negative? So what if we have this? Notice or remember, when my last term is negative, down here, when my last term is negative, these signs will be different. It has to be that way. That's how I get a negative. One's a positive, one's a negative. And if these are if these are different, I will subtract my products. Negative 2x plus 5x. I subtract the 5 and the 2 to get me the 3. Okay. If the last term is negative, I start off the same way. How do we get x squared? X and x. How do I get 28? 1 and 28, 2 and 14, 4 and 7. That's all. Okay, so which one of these will subtract to give me 3, 4, and 7? Oh, I got to go back to that one there. We could have done that one. I missed a factor. 4 and 7 also worked back there. Yeah, for those of you who got that, great job. This one could have factored when I had the one before. Sorry, I'm switching a little bit. I had this before. That actually factors into x minus 4 times x minus 7. It was factorable. Sorry, made a mistake. It happens to the best of us. All right, so we have this. So which one, in this case, well, perfect timing. We're going to go back here. Notice back here I added the 4 and the 7 to get the 11. Why did I add? Because this was positive, making these two signs the same. Now I'm going to subtract something and try to get the 3. Why? Because this is negative. So is 28 minus 1, 3? Nope. 14 minus 2, 3? Nope. 7 minus 3? 7 minus 4, 3? Yes. So one of my numbers is a 7 and one of my numbers is a 4. I want a negative 3. Remember what we talked about back here. When my signs are different and I'm combining like terms, I take the sign of the larger number. 5 minus 2 is 3, and it's positive because the larger number is positive. 7 minus 3 is 4, and it's negative because the larger number is negative. So when I combine these, I want my larger number to give me this sign, or to be that sign. And we're done. Hit pause and give it a try. What two things give me x squared? X and x. How do I get 15? 5. I don't want to jump to the answer. No, I will. 5 and 3. I want a positive, so this 5 is larger, so it's positive. My options were 1 and 15, 3 and 5. 15 minus 1 is not 2, 5 minus 3 is 2. And there's my combination. Hit pause, give it a try. How do I get x squared? X and x. How do I get 6? 1 and 6, 2 and 3. which ones will subtract to give me, there's technically a 1x there, so 3 minus 2 is 1. I want the larger number to be negative. Last one. Hit pause, give it a try. Okay. My possible options that will go here and here, because remember, in case you forgot, why am I picking those factors? Because these last terms, 28, 15, and so on, come from multiplying these two numbers together. So whatever I put here and here has to give me the 10. Okay? So now I need to get a negative 5. This is negative. I have one way of thinking about it. 2 plus 3 is 5. Does that work? No. Because remember, if this is negative, these signs have to be the same. And if these signs are the same, then my answer has to, or my combination has to add those together. So what's my combination that works? 6 and 1. Why? Because 6 minus 1 is 5. I need a negative 5. So the bigger number has to be negative. All right, that is factoring